record a little bit of game dev I was doing. Playing around with Godot and making a sort of, bullet hell, survive, being shot type game. Vampire Survivors, basically. We've already made a little bit of a start. We've got a player, we've got an enemy, and the enemy. Oh, that doesn't work. Get rid of that function. The enemy follows the player around. And what I was going to add now is a sort of mechanic where when the player shoots the enemy, it'll get knocked back a bit. So then I could make it so the enemy is actually potentially quicker than the player. And as long as you keep shooting it, it should never reach you, or at least it'll slow it down enough that you can always move away from it. So to do that, get rid of this. Oh, this is quite handy. I used Copilot, which is some Microsoft AI tool to generate some pixel art, because this would take me forever to draw. Right, cool. Get rid of this, get rid of that. So, I want... Actually, let me just check sound. Cool. So what I want is... I need to know the enemy's location. And so I can get the enemy node using get parent, get node, and it understands what I want. Brilliant, cool. So now I have a reference to the enemy, and I want my player to shoot the enemy. Shoot speed. Every X amount of time. So this is like an interval where it will shoot. So we'll have a function called shoot. And then we need to know how much time has passed. Let's do some Googling here. Go dot time passed. Well, actually, I guess we have the delta, but this is for physics. So is there like another function we can use? Process. Okay, process. So function process delta. Then we can track time. Time since last shot equals 0. What do we do? I guess we just increase this by the delta. So delta is usually like a tiny amount. Delta is how long it was since the last time this was called. So this could be frame dependent. But then I think it means it will kind of turn into sort of normal time. Like if it takes half a second to draw a frame, then this will happen twice in that frame. I don't know, frames per second. Anyway, then we do if time since last shot is greater than shoot speed. Shoot. And let's put a log in there so we know something's happening. The dot log. Print. Print. Fire. Fire. So I can't see anything. Time since last shot is greater than shoot speed. Let's have a little. Oh, okay. Now it's okay. So was that 10 seconds? That might have been 10 seconds, you know. So we need to shoot, and we also need to reset. Let's count to 10 and see if that was 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe that's 10 seconds. Let's turn it down to half a second maybe. Let's get kind of nice rhythm going. Pow, 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 too fast. Pow, pow, it's still too fast. Pow, 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 pow. That's a good rhythm. Right, so every time we shoot, we want to tell the enemy shot. And we don't need any parameters yet. Now, I'm hoping we can do this. We can say function shot. I just got shot. Yeah, here we go. Cool. So now this is shooting this. And that's represented by this log. There's no actual real shooting going on. That's, visuals that I need to add. But every time it gets shot, we want to know where it's shot from. Right? So that would be position. That's where the player is. Now, how do I give parameters types in Godot? Optional typing. Okay, well, let's give it a type because I don't know. I might not necessarily know what it is, but I want it to be a vector too. Cool. So then we work out the shot direction, which is a case of one minus the other. Never sure which way round it is. We'll just find out using trial and error. Nice, let's work it out. If I'm here and you're here, actually we'll use JS Paint to figure this out. JS Paint. So if I am here, hello Alfred, and this is 1, 1, and you're down here, this is 0, 0, then this minus 0 is 1. So that's the direction going that way. If I did it the other way around, 0 minus 1, that'd be the direction, so that'd be where it's coming from. That's not what I want is the direction that it's going to actually. So shoot direction would be my position minus from, I think. And then what we're going to do is normalize that, and we want to bump ourselves back a little bit. And that is now, like, this is the problem I always have with using physics, is now it's kind of like conflicting physics, because we've got this going on where every time the physics thing ticks, we've got the sort of direction that we want to go to, and we kind of want to jolt the enemy back a little bit. Hello Alfred, you're covered in fur, aren't you? So how do we do that? I mean, I guess one way is we literally just set position equals position minus shoot direction times by like 10. give it a bit of beef. How will that look? Oh, it's actually going the wrong way. Okay, plus. You see it? So there you go. It's like it's shooting it a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. I think sometimes the problem with this is this might be conflicting with physics. If we increase that to like 40, for example, how does that look? Whoops. Oh, you've peaked into infinity. Okay, that's too much. Is that good? Is that little jolt okay? I don't know. Is that okay? Boop, 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 boop. This is quite a cool little like mechanic already, because you can see how if your gun was faster, I made this 2. Will that update it on the fly? Let's rerun it. Oh, I've broken it. Oh, shoot speed needs to get faster. Oh. 0.2. That will never reach me. Oh, it does still reach me. About 0.1. Now that does look bad though, does it? It needs to knock itself back. It needs to be a knockback. Rather than a forcing it to move position, what we need is to knock it back. So how do we do that? So it's already got a physics object to it. Go dot. So we've got velocity. We also have acceleration. So it's got velocity because it's a. Why does it have velocity? Good question. Velocity, character body, 2D. These are character bodies, 2D. So it has a velocity. I think it could probably have acceleration. So what if we set the velocity? Because if we just set the velocity here, as soon as this happens, it'll override the velocity. So we want to kind of knock it back and then it has to overcome the velocity, right? And I suppose that's where acceleration comes in. So if we have something here and something here shoots it, we want this to get knocked back. And this, to knock it back, how it kind of works in, you know, the real world physics, is this would have some kind of acceleration, I suppose. But it might not have any acceleration, it might just have a max acceleration that's set to, so it's now moving at a velocity of like 5. Well, then we break that velocity by hitting it with something which then sets its velocity back. And then it has to accelerate back up to then move towards the player. So this is where, let's have a look, does acceleration exist? On a body, no, velocity. So we can make our own acceleration. And we will call it acceleration. We'll also set a, so it's got a speed of 200. That's maybe what we can use to limit its velocity. So right now, let's not do any of this. Let's just work on getting it so it works with velocity and acceleration before we shoot it backwards. So acceleration would be direction. So we'd have acceleration equals direction times speed, or just direction perhaps. I think we also need a max speed. Max speed 200. This speed probably needs to go down a bit. Then velocity plus equals acceleration. Now I think this is going to make it go crazy. Hey, that's what we want. So this is where our speed gets heavily tweaked. And we also need to set a velocity cap. So go dot ceiling. Is there a ceiling? So is there like a ceiling? Ceiling. Equals velocity plus acceleration. But we want it to have like a, is there a maths dot? Ceiling? Ceiling? Don't I need to pass in two things for a ceiling? Oh. Clamp. Min. Max. Clamp is what we want. Clamp. And it takes in the value, the minimum, which is max speed, and the maximum, which is max speed. Ooh. Oh, but this is actually, I'm mixing vectors with velocities here, aren't I? So this needs to become a, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Length, is it? Am I insane? What am I doing? I feel like I'm doing some nuts now. Lamp? No, it's not lamp. Is this now clamping it? It's hard to say. So what is this new velocity? That's a massive number. That's not clamped anything then, has it? Velocity. This is wrong, isn't it? If I'm timesing the velocity. Oh, I'm not actually using it either. So what is this new velocity value? It's a ginormous number. How do you get the velocity? there a way to look up? Go dot variable spector. That's very cute, Alfred. Go dot limit velocity. Oh, because I didn't normalize it. Oh, there is a vector clamp. Oh, so I could have just done velocity dot clamp, and then that takes in to be like that maybe, and then that takes in itself, and how do I do that? Does that work? I don't think that will work, will it? This is why I don't do game development, it's too hard. I can't do basic shit. I feel like what I was doing before was right. Maybe. Like, can you clamp? Like, I don't want to set it and then clamp it. Do you know what I mean? I want to figure it out first. So I do like velocity plus acceleration. And then I want to clamp that velocity. What I want now is to clamp this down. I mean, can I clamp velocity? Come on, people, tell me the answer. Limit length. Ooh, I like that. Limit length. To clamp a vector. See, now it's a lot slower. Cool. Okay, Brill. So now, when it gets shot, can I... The acceleration will... So the pushback will have to overcome the acceleration. So if I just did plus equals, how would that look? Nothing seems to happen. If I set this to be a much bigger number. Okay, no, nothing will happen again because the acceleration is constantly being reset. So this is like the problem we had before. where it's like two things conflicting with each other. So but whatever I set this to doesn't matter because every time this resets it. Do we have to like do something like this then instead? Now we've got like acceleration on our acceleration. Nil. Invalid nil and vector. That just said to be something to begin with. Let's just not do this for now. I don't think this is working, is it? I also don't think shooting it does anything either. So we've got a value here. It's heading towards the player at a speed of 5. We then want to shoot it once, so the speed goes to like -5. So it gets pushed back and then it has to overcome that acceleration. So it's all about the acceleration, right? I feel like what I was doing is correct. It's about the acceleration. Now, I suppose there's no delta used here, so this is going to happen constantly. This will like happen very infrequently. So should everything here be times by delta? Probably. Let's try and reset everything again. So go dot acceleration. How does this work? Velocity times by delta, maybe. Now everything's going to be so slow. Okay, let's just skip that bit out for now. Do we need to do speed? More speed. Oh my god, it's even slower. What's the delta? 1 point whatever. And then with max speed. Oh, that new velocity is gigantic. Oh, so that's not the issue. The issue is this max velocity. Do we times it and then clamp it? Probably. Maybe. Trial and error. So it's not, this is no longer speed, this is like, well, it kind of is speed. We want it to accelerate really fast. Then reach a max speed. Double acceleration. It's like now what we've done is given it it's just given it an orbit. Now it's just stuck in orbit. Cat hairs all over my desk. I want this guy to just head right towards the player. Why can't I do that? I suppose I don't need this to be doing what it's doing, right? Maths is hard. So I set this to be 5,000. No, that doesn't make a difference. I mean it does, but it's not the difference that I want. So get our direction. Our acceleration gets the direction times by the speed. We then work out if we then add the acceleration to the velocity, and we then say this is it. Also, there's a max speed. What if I times this here? Is delta throwing everything? Is this the problem, the delta? No, it's not the problem. The problem is acceleration. Could do a slurp. Get rid of acceleration. Does this work? I need the acceleration to be really tight. But like I need mad good acceleration, right? Then if I do that, it like, do I need to clamp the acceleration as well? Move towards. That's interesting. So what does that do? What does move towards do? I suppose what you can do is, okay, this gives me an idea. So a direction is just like, if we want to move towards a direction, we just have like, well, yeah, let's put say for example the player dot position. Okay. See, position is, oh, that was very fast. Speed 20. Speed 80. So we got that going on. Now we need the acceleration. Acceleration is how this works. We've got to use the acceleration. Let's sort out the whole orbiting thing later. That's just something we have to solve through some other means. I don't know what that means is. Why can't I get it so it shoots back? Like, this seems to have no impact on that at all. Ah, there we go. Yes! So it's all a balancing act. It's all a balancing act. Pew, 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 pew. So we want to bump this up, right? By a lot. Can we get rid of this delta? Is the delta doing anything for us? Yeah, it is. Now what do we times the delta by? 2D game use delta. How? Game delta acceleration or velocity. I think we're meant to times it here, right? And what do we times here? The speed, acceleration. We should be doing this bit, I think. So now it's orbiting, which is annoying. So the acceleration, we're actually just going to set it to be 0. Yeah, we're not minus or plusing it. Times by like 50. Oh, why is it getting closer to me? Acceleration is doing nothing. We put these side by side so we can see them without doing this constantly. Yeah. 50 is not enough. 500 is too much. I really want to work on this orbiting problem. We need to do some sort of I think my sound just turned off. Acceleration. Um, so I kind of want to tweak it so that it heads towards the player. I don't know, maybe this could work. I just wish I could sort of solve this nicely. I want it to just be moving towards me all the time. Pew, 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 pew. That's probably enough for now. You know, you could imagine this being a game. You could have like this as a big boss, and then loads of little ones, and then you're kind of going like pew, 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 shooting all the small ones. They're exploding instantly, and then this one is constantly following you. You gotta keep away from it. The thing is, this will never get you. It's like acceleration's a bit weird, isn't it? Maybe we need to times the shot from the delta. Go.get delta. Maybe we don't need to. Then what would we do? We'd do like a sort of a fire effect. We'll work on this.